Hey guys, welcome to Sports Talk. This is Mike Lindsay from BSN Sports. I'm here today with Coach Casey Dill. He is the manager as well as the director of baseball operations for the Palm Springs Power and the Palm Springs Collegiate League. Casey, thanks for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mike. Pleasure.
So tell the folks at home kind of basically your background, who you are, how this all kind of came to be.
Yeah, my background, I've done a little bit of everything in baseball. What I'm most well known for is my role in summer baseball. I've managed between professional and summer collegiate baseball for 12 years now. I've also been a recruiting coordinator at the Division II, the NAI levels, and I'm also currently the recruiting coordinator at College of the Desert, which is a junior college here in the Coachella Valley. Been to Major League Baseball scout school. I do a little bit of stuff with the Braves, scout ball on the weekends, helping guys find colleges. I write scouting reports every now and then when I come across a guy that I want to turn into the Braves. The Palm Springs Collegiate League, we're going on our third year. And the whole idea behind the Palm Springs Collegiate League was let's create an environment for student athletes to get better. And it's a lot different than even the Palm Springs Power team that I manage, where my job is to go out there and run it like a major league club. We're going out there and we're trying to win games every night. And I'll run the same 9 guys out there every night. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to win. And my thought is summer baseball, a lot of guys do it because they need playing time, right? Like you could be a freshman, you could be a redshirt, you could be coming off an injury. And where do those guys go to get reps during the summer? So when they go back to their fall season, they have a better shot at earning playing time. So the whole idea behind the Palm Springs Collegiate League is development. So, for example, we have position-specific practices. So teams will practice individually, but we also have like a catching coordinator and a pitching coordinator and a hitting coordinator where all the catchers from every team will come together twice a week and we work on catching stuff. And all the hitters come together twice a week and we work on hitting stuff. So it's more of a developmental focus with the idea that the majority of college baseball players out there aren't the guys that are going out in the starting lineup every day. The bench is longer than the starting lineup. So what do all these other guys do to get better? And so we're looking for typically the younger college baseball player, red shirts, or even guys that were stuck behind upperclassmen or stuck behind a draft guy and just need to get on the field and need to get better. We run very small roster sizes, so everybody gets an opportunity to play. So if you're a redshirt freshman, you didn't get any at-bats this year, right? Come to the Palm Springs Collegiate League, get 70 at-bats, go into your fall season that much better, to earn playing time.
I think it's really important for parents to also understand that this is going to be even more advantageous for them this summer than in summers past, because now you have an additional year of eligibility for all those spring players and seniors that were going to graduate and now are coming back because they have an additional year of eligibility. So you have an additional sitting period.
Yeah, 100%. And we also take 2020 high school grads. So if you're a 2020 high school grad and you're looking to get some college experience, or even if you're uncommitted and you want to come play in front of college coaches, all 12 of our teams are coached by current college coaches, and they all use this as a resource for college recruiting. So it's a great way for newly graduated high school kids to get college level experience and college exposure going into their freshman season. And then to your point, this is going to be the most competitive season of college baseball, maybe in college baseball history, for 2 reasons. 1, everybody getting a year of eligibility back, and 2, the Major League Draft going from 40 rounds to possibly 5 rounds. So you're talking about over 1,000 players that would have been professional minor league players this year that are still going to be playing college baseball. So there will be a trickle-down effect from the highest levels of Division I all the way down to JUCO and D3 and NAI. The levels of baseball everywhere are going to go up. So being ready to go in there and compete against some very talented baseball players and earning playing time is going to be more important now than ever.
Now, talk to me a little bit about, so you guys obviously utilize technology just like everyone else does. What would you say is the most beneficial technology that you guys use, and then also that parents or players can use at home?
Yeah, we use a technology called Yacker Tech, which is very similar to Rapsodo, and which measures bat speed, spin rate, all those intangibles that major league organizations are now using to sign and draft players. So all of the players that come into our league are going to have data when they leave. The plan is we do it before the league and we do it at the end of the league so we can see progression from when they started and when they ended. So it's definitely a component of everything that we do. And if you're not using technology now, you're already kind of behind, right? Like, you can't deny the fact that Major League Baseball organizations are using this data, and they're hiring people that are data experts to make draft decisions and to make signing decisions. So we like to stay in front of everything, and you know, our league is scouted. We had a lot of major league organizations come out to ball games last year, and as soon as they ask about a player, it's boom, here's his data. You know what I mean? And it goes hand in hand when watching the guy in person. You see the guy in person, but what's his data? So continuing to utilize data is absolutely important, and it's something that's only going to become more and more a part of the game.
Sweet. And what do you think are some of the technologies that parents can use at home?
I mean, there's a lot of them out there now. Blast motion is an easy one, and you know, it just goes on the knob of your bat. I think it's under $100, very affordable, and it measures, you know, bat speed, launch angle. It's something that, you know, the Astros were on the forefront of using, which, you know, it's the Astros, and that is what it is now. But the technology is good, and it's a very affordable option that you can pop up a screen in your backyard, right? Like, you could do this in your backyard, pop up a net, go into the backyard, put blast on the bottom of your bat and hit into your net, and you can get those intangibles and see exactly where you're at. There's more expensive options, you know, like Rapsodo and some of the other stuff, but blast motion is probably the most affordable, easy way to go. Like I said, you could put a net up in your backyard, right? And you can just hit into the net, and you'll be able to get readings from something like that.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, I know more of the Palm Springs power side, working with Andrew over the years. Now, how is the players that you're working with different? Because, like, with the Palm Springs Power, because you are running it like more like a major league team, you guys have host families just like they do in minor league baseball. So, what are you looking more for? Local players? What type of players are you looking for, and what do you facilitate for them?
Yeah, so the easiest way for me to describe it is the Palm Springs Power. We're looking for high-end, draft-eligible, already been identified. You know, scouts are saying, like, hey, this guy's a top 10 rounder. Like, he needs a place to play before the draft. Like, so the power team isn't really recruited. Guys are sent to us from scouts knowing that this guy's already going to get drafted or he's already a draft prospect. So that roster fills up. We don't got to try. It's a done deal, right? The Palm Springs Collegiate League is kind of everybody else, right? And a good example is like a Division I red shirt, or a red shirt at any level for that matter. Like, if you go through a whole year of college baseball and you never see the field, you're missing reps. And for me as a player, the best thing for my development was actually getting on the field and playing. Practice is great. Training is great. Not taking away from that at all, but nothing is better than getting on the field and playing, right? So that's where the Palm Springs Collegiate League comes in. Is we want guys that need to play. You know what I mean? Like, we want guys that, like, maybe you only got 10, 20 at-bats this year. Maybe you had an injury that prevented you from being on the field. Or maybe, you know, like I said, you were stuck behind a guy that ended up going in the draft this year. And you could be a great player. You just got stuck behind someone that was a little bit older and a little bit better, you know? So we're not looking for the high-end guys. We're looking for guys at any level of college baseball that your goal is to get better. And our number one goal is you will leave here better than you came. So we hire developmental-minded coaches, and every manager is told from the very beginning, hey, winning is fun. It's baseball. Go try to win. Your number one goal is to not win games. Your number one goal is to not earn your next job by winning games. Your number one goal is to make every single player on your roster better, period. You know, whereas me with the power, my job is to win. Not that I don't care about making guys better, but my focus is on how am I going to win tonight? Who am I going to put out there and how am I going to win? And I don't care who plays or who doesn't play, not my problem. And that's like a professional approach, right? Whereas the developmental focus is it's not about winning. I want guys to win because winning is fun, right? But it's more about everybody leaving here better than they came.
Okay. And obviously we're sitting in two completely different locations because of COVID-19 and everything. How have you and Andrew talked about adapting the league because of COVID-19?
Well, We are in a very good advantage with the Palm Springs Collegiate League for two main reasons. One, we operate everything out of one facility, so there's zero travel. A lot of the summer leagues that you see are folding is because you have teams located in different communities that are reliant on different city governments, different colleges, all these other things to operate. There's so many moving parts. On top of that, those leagues rely on sponsorship dollars, ticket sales, host families, all things that are going to be very hard to come by this summer because of the pandemic, right? Like businesses are shut down right now. They're not going to have money to sponsor a baseball team maybe, whereas they did in the past. And host families welcoming kids in from all over the country to live in their homes for a season, I think that's going to be something that people are more reluctant to do now, right? Like letting someone into your home when you have kids and all that kind of stuff. I can see that more people aren't going to want to do that. And ticket sales, like a lot of these teams survive off of ticket and merchandise sales. And even if we are like, if everything clears up and we're able to operate this summer, it's going to be in small groups of probably 50 or less, right? At least that's what we're thinking here in California. And so if you're reliant on ticket sales, then you're completely like the ownership is completely losing a huge revenue stream that they use to make payroll, take bus trips, pay umpires, buy equipment. There goes the revenue stream, poof, gone. You know, whereas the Palm Springs Collegiate League, we don't rely on ticket sales. We don't rely on merchandise sales. We don't rely on sponsorships, and we have zero travel. So we can get 2 baseball teams worth of guys with umpires and coaches, make that under 50, which is probably going to be the requirement, and just play baseball, you know? And instead of being in front of fans, we're going to broadcast it live on the internet. Like, hey, you want to watch our games? Don't come to the game because you can't, but you can go here and you can watch it, you know? So we're not reliant on a bunch of different moving parts. We're reliant on one facility. We're reliant on, we don't need the sponsorship dollars. We don't need the fans. We just need to play baseball. And the living situation, we don't rely on host families. We use a timeshare facility, which is privately owned by timeshare owners. And it's a resort facility, so it's a little bit different than a hotel or a motel. These are actually privately owned condo resorts. They get daily maid service, and so there's going to be some extra precautions taken to make sure those rooms are cleaned and sanitized daily. But we have a unique housing situation where we're not really relying on a whole lot to be able to make it operate. So it literally just happens to be by the nature of that we operate, it kind of fits in almost perfectly to everything that's going on.
Awesome. I mean, I think that's a great option to let parents know, because a lot of them, like I talk to travel ball coaches all the time. I talk to high school coaches, college coaches, and they're looking for a vehicle for this summer. And I mean, I work with Perfect Game all the time, and we're just trying to figure out right now, okay, if we can't go in May, are we pushing some of those to June? Are we pushing some of those to July? Are we compressing the schedule, or do you take stuff that normally would be in SoCal and move it to Vegas and see if you can use Henderson and Vegas as much as possible and maximize, and see if families from SoCal will go to Vegas and kind of make a weekend out of it versus being in Orange County at Great Park.
Yep.
I think it's an absolutely valuable service and a vehicle that is sustainable in today's environment.
Yeah, and things are changing daily, right? Like things change every day, and California's supposed to be coming out with their timeline at the end of the month, but there's nothing in place right now that says we can't operate as we operate, you know, whether it be July, June, July, whenever. By the nature of we operate, there's nothing in place right now that says we can't operate as long as we keep it to small groups. So we're very optimistic, and it's a model. We've done this model for several years, and it just happens to kind of fit in very nicely with all the different things that are going on right now.
Awesome. So what message would you give to high school seniors right now? That obviously they've lost their entire senior year of baseball, basically. So I actually tomorrow will be talking to a director of operations and how they're going to be recruiting this year, because obviously it's going to be a very different recruit class, which we've already talked about. So what message would you have for high school seniors right now?
You have to stay active. You have to stay positive. I mean, it's a tough situation for everybody, and obviously it's really tough for those 2020 guys that were hoping to get picked up by a college or commit to a college during this spring season. But it's easy for us to all feel sorry for ourselves, right? Like it's tough for any baseball guy right now. You have to stay active, and if you are not committed right now, all of college recruiting, and you'll learn this tomorrow, I think, when you talk to the Cal Baptist coach, but college recruiting has gone online and it's gone to social media. So some things you can be doing now is getting a ton of video. Film yourself training. A lot of guys say, well, how do I do a video if I'm not playing games? The majority of coaches don't want to see a highlight reel, right? Like, I don't want to see a guy hitting a bunch of doubles for 2 minutes with rap music in the background. Like, that doesn't help me, right? Like, what happens when the guy fails? I want to see failure too. And so skills videos for me, when I'm evaluating video, I want to see skill set. You know, so that's mechanical stuff. That could be hitting off of a tee. That could be hitting off a front toss. That could be taking ground balls. That could be throwing a bullpen. So get video and be active on social media. Twitter is just huge right now with college coaches and players in recruiting. So stay active. Don't get down on yourself. And it can be tough with like facilities closed and baseball fields closed. I mean, find a parking lot to go play catch in, right? Like, go to your backyard, put up a hitting net. You know, you just got to be creative in the way that you stay active, and you got to stay positive, because when baseball does come back, if you haven't been active and productive during this time, you're going to get blown away by everybody that has. You know what I mean? All these other people that are staying active in college recruiting and training, it's already going to be more competitive than ever. If you're taking this time off, then it's going to just blow past you immediately, you know?
So obviously gyms are closed. So like, I'm lucky enough, because I work for BSN, have a full-on gym in my garage. But what can most players do just to, you say, be active, but also work on their fitness? So what drills, if you will, or different exercises would you recommend for players at home right now?
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking with some of my pitchers right now at College of the Desert, and it's like they're telling me the stuff that they're doing, and you can never run too much, especially when you're a pitcher. Run more. Nobody likes running. I don't like running, right? But it's one thing that you can do right now, like go into your community and just run around the block if you can't get to a track, you know? Do push-ups. You got to kind of go old school. Get a pull-up bar. Do pull-ups. You know, you kind of just got to be creative. And everybody's situation is different. I've heard of some people that do have access to baseball fields. I heard of some people that don't. You know, but getting fitness equipment and putting it in your garage and putting it in your backyard, you've got to kind of turn your home into your own personal gym right now. I know what I did is I put a bunch of weights and weighted balls and exercise equipment in my backyard, right? Like, I kind of took it from my office and I put it in my backyard. It's like, you've just got to adapt, and everybody's situation is different, but everybody has to be creative in their own way to stay active. You know what I mean? And there is no wrong answer to do it. If you have a pool, swim laps. If you don't have a pool, like I said, you can go out in your front yard and just run till you can't run anymore, you know? So I think everybody's situation is different, and I think everybody just needs to find new creative ways to stay active at home, whatever that may look like.
So obviously we've talked about a lot of the differences in culture. One is more developmental versus one is win right now for draft eligible between the programs. What is because obviously I came out of baseball with 3 very distinctly different coaches and their culture type. So if a parent's sitting at home right now and they're like, hey, I really like what Casey's saying, how are you as a coach? Describe yourself and the culture you try to create.
Yeah. I want to create a culture where everyone maximizes what they get out of the situation as much as possible. So I think every player is different, and every player has different needs, and every player has different goals, and they're all at different points of their college career, right? So how can we help maximize what every single player gets out of this league they possibly can? So part of the process in playing in the Palm Springs Collegiate League is a sit-down interview with me at the very beginning. I'll interview all 300 players. You know, what's your number one reason for wanting to play in our league? And some guys say, like, hey, I'm uncommitted. I need to get college exposure. No one talked to me last year. I need help in the college recruiting process. Okay, awesome. I can help you with that. I'll help you put together an email. We'll get together video. I'll make some recommendations for you. We'll get your information out there. There's never been an uncommitted player that has played in the Palm Springs Collegiate League that has left the Palm Springs Collegiate League uncommitted. So I will help every single player that is uncommitted, personally myself, find a college baseball program to play at the end of the season. And sometimes that means relocating. Like, I don't want to put it out there that I can just help you play anywhere, because that's not it. But if you're willing to accept different geographical locations, if you're willing to accept maybe a level that you weren't open to in the beginning, I can help you find a place, and that's something that I care about. Some guys say like, hey, I want to build up my arm strength. Okay, we have a Driveline certified coach that builds up arm strength, so here, we're going to set you up working up with this guy every Tuesday and Thursday. So we look at every individual player and say, what do you need to get out of this? And then we kind of have, between our staff of 15 baseball coaches and scouts, we have everybody that specializes in something. And we set up group workouts, individual workouts. So I don't mean to keep rambling on about this, but long story short, my goal is that everybody gets the most out of this that will most benefit them. And it starts with an introductory meeting with me saying, what do you want to get out of this summer? How can I help you? Let's come up with a plan.
Sounds great, Casey. I'm sold. So the next question would be, and obviously it's probably the last obvious one. So we have a parent that's sitting there. Great. I love it. Johnny, I found a place for you this summer since things are falling through. How do they get a hold of you?
They can check out our website, which is palmspringscollegiateleague.com. And collegiate could be difficult to spell, but if you Google it, it should come up. Or you can email me directly, and that's caseydillbaseball@gmail.com. And we are actively recruiting. The league will eventually sell out. We're a 12-team league. We can only take about between 250 and 300 players. We're getting close to that now. I do think with all these other leagues canceling, like the Virginia Valley League, which has been a league for 56 years that have had 200 players canceled a couple weeks ago, and the Mink League in Missouri that has close to 250 players canceled about a week ago. So there's going to be an influx of players that are looking for a place to play. We're one of the few leagues that operate the way that we do, to where we think that we're going to be able to operate. As of today, we're going, So I would say reach out to me sooner than later. There's an application process. I send them a player application, so we have all their information, their video. Let's say it's a shortstop. I go, let's see what roster needs a shortstop. I'm going to send them to Coach Schilling, and then that coach will be in contact with them. So go to the website, palmspringscollegiateleague.com. If you can't find that, email me directly, caseydillbaseball.com. And, absolutely. We're still recruiting, still have roster spots available, so we'd love to hear from some people.
I appreciate it. So if you have one thing that you want to tell everyone at home, what would it be?
And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Stay positive and stay active. And I'll admit it. Even I have, times throughout the day where I'm like, man, this kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Or hey, this is another day where I've got to find new ways to stay productive. So it's okay to feel that way. I think everyone deep down is feeling that right now, right? So it's okay to feel that way, but find ways to stay productive and find ways to stay active. With college recruiting, it's get your video together, get online, email coaches, get on Twitter, tweet your video out, be active in the recruiting process, And with the workout side of things, it's find ways to stay active. Whatever that looks like for you in your community or at your home, you have to find ways to stay active. Whether it's running around your neighborhood, whether it's push-ups in the backyard, whether it's hitting into a net, whether it's having your mom put on your catcher's gear and throwing a bullpen to her, you know what I mean? Whatever you have to do to stay active, you have to find a way to make it happen, because I promise you guys, baseball will be back, and you have to be using this time to get better and not just sitting around and doing nothing.
I appreciate it. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. Casey, thanks for being with me today. So this is sponsored by BSN Sports. It's just Coaches Talk for the Inland Empire. Have a good day.
Thank you.